So now we're going to do something interesting. I want everyone who has a child in their life, neighbors, kids, grandchildren, children, nieces, nephews, etc., go to digimentors.group and get the Election Day episode or issue of New York Times for Kids. This is aimed at 9 to 14-year-olds. And we are going to do a special read-along, just Neil. And I'm hoping that next month we'll have a special guest who he will tell us about if he can convince that special guest to join us. But anyway, this is available only to print subscribers and people who are fans of the Digimentors New York Times read-along. So go to digimentors.group, look for the New York Times button, New York Times read-along, and then click on Rashmi's face and our conversation there, and you can download this PDF. Keep them. They will be useful to teach your children all about politics and other issues. It's a great, great service, and I'm so happy we can do this. And with that, we are going to hand this over to Neil to tell us about the New York Times read-along. He's going to do this for about 15, 20 minutes, and we will talk to you again. Neil, thank you very much, and everybody, thank you, and goodbye, everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sree. We're going to do a special on the New York Times, excuse me, New York Times for Kids, to take a deeper dive on that. And I hope you stay and take a close look. We're really looking forward to it. So here is again the cover for the New York Times for Kids, and they have an election night bingo, which is really interesting. So let's take a look. I'm going to switch to the New York Times camera and put that on. And we will start that show. So the New York Times election special. Again, the editor's note: this section should not be read by kids. That's what they have right at the very top. But this is your guide to the big day: election night bingo, the Electoral College explained. Adults need to understand the Electoral College as well, don't they? Can presidential candidates be cool? Kids put politicians in the hot seat. Three ways kids are getting involved. What office should you run for? Definitely want to get kids involved in politics. How to vote from space. It's almost like being an overseas voter, I guess, but even more so. And as a reminder, the PDF for New York Times for Kids is available on our website. Please go to digimentors.group/NYTReadalong and look for Rashmi's show, and you'll find it. So you see the other topics here. My family is fighting about politics, a brief history of messy elections. Class presidents share their secrets. And so that's the full page here. Let's take a look inside. First off, I want to note the design, the red, white, and blue. It's almost like an old-timey look, which is interesting. So there's certain design elements there. And Dr. Tachi, thank you for staying. Appreciate it. Hopefully folks will enjoy this look at the New York Times for Kids. Welcome to the election issue. And then there's a Meet the Candidates. They do a quick look. One of these people will be your next president, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. They have a section here, can't vote, no problem. 3 ways teens are getting involved. And I will make a quick plug here. I don't have the video to show, but Sree's daughter, Durga, is going to be featured in a documentary. She's certainly old enough to vote. She's a college student, but it focuses on her efforts encouraging people to vote. So definitely look for that, and we'll share that with folks, of course, once those links are out. Grab a snack, do your laundry, cast a ballot inside 5 of America's strangest polling places. It's interesting. The city of Chicago doesn't own a building in the neighborhood of Chicago Lawn, so Wash Smart Laundry is helping out by tucking polling booths among the washers and dryers. That's interesting. That's one example. Here's a thing. How old should you be to vote? There's a question, and they have an answer from an 11-year-old. I think people should be allowed to vote when they are 22, because I feel that's when your brain fully develops, and you don't want to have people with an underdeveloped brain choosing who should lead the country. That is certainly interesting, an interesting thought. And I think actually brains develop later than that, if I'm not mistaken. What else do we have here? Stunts, memes, and saxophones. Campaigns work hard to make candidates seem cool. Another answer to the how old should you be to vote? You should have to be 7 to vote because I'm 7 and I should have the right. And because that's when you can get your ears pierced. That is an interesting approach. We have, so this is this article about being cool. The year was 2008. The presidential candidate Barack Obama was preparing to make a television history. The cameras rolled and declared, "Do you smell what Barack is cooking?" That's a play on The Rock, a Dwayne Johnson, who was a wrestler at the time. But with the saxophone, I remember when Bill Clinton played the saxophone on Arsenio Hall. Your school, your say. The other elections you should be paying attention to. Absolutely. What do school boards do? Hiring and firing school officials, where the money goes, vacation days. Those are all decisions that are made at the local level. Now, here's a nice piece. Your guide to the big day. It's weird. It's confusing. It's the Electoral College. Absolutely. And I'll say that my daughter, Emily, 11-year-old, she had a session. Her Girl Scouts met with a county supervisor, and her question that she wanted to ask was, why do you do the Electoral College? Why is it actually there? A lot of people ask that question. Why is it still in place? But there's an Electoral College map and a whole explanation of how that works. Now, if we get to the centerfold, this is what we've been waiting for. And I think that adults may want to check this out for election night. Election night bingo, where the popular vote is all the votes cast by U.S. citizens. Because of the way elections work here, it's possible for a candidate to win the popular vote and lose the election. Read more about that. If there's a flip, when a state that voted for one party in the last election votes for the other party, it's called flipping. Exit polls, Nevada, recount. There's a lot to dig into with this, and a lot to focus on. Precinct over here. States are divided into precincts or voting districts. The votes from each precinct are added together to make the state's total. So the instructions on election night: tune in to the news and set a timer for 30 minutes. Scan the terms on the board and then keep your eyes and ears open. When you read or hear one of them, check it off the board and read the explanation. If you've marked your 4 words in a row before the timer goes off, you get a bingo and you win. You're free to resume your night, unless, of course, you're caught up in all the excitement. Persuade your parents to let you stay up late. You're watching democracy in action. See how many squares you can check off before calling it a night. And while you're at it, see if you can start filling in the electoral map. Who's the politics nerd now? I will say that this would be an interesting thing for anyone to do. If you only have the hard copy, you get one chance. But because the PDF is on our website, you could play multiple times. You could have multiple people play, which is cool. I would only say that given some past elections, if we don't know by midnight, maybe some kids should be going to sleep around then. The older kids could stay up, but I'm probably going to put a midnight sleep time on for Emily. She will have school the next day, and this is interesting. In Fairfax County, she's going to have early release on Thursday, Halloween. Friday is Diwali, or that's when they're celebrating Diwali, so she'll have Friday off. Monday is a professional work day. Tuesday is election day, so she'll be coming off a 5-day weekend. She'll need to get back to school on Wednesday, I'm sure. So let's check out what else they have here. The votes are in. Now what? This is always an important question, not just for kids. We might not know who won right away. Scenario 1, we know the winner on election night. Scenario 2, it takes a few days. Scenario 3, really close race, takes more than a few days. And then legal battles after the election. Famously, Gore v. Bush was decided by one vote. Clarence Thomas in the Supreme Court. You remember the hanging chads. Here's an article about family is fighting about politics, and what you can do about that, how you can handle that. Again, the PDF is on our website, digimentors.group/NYTReadalong. Here are some things, some statements from younger kids, really 11 through 15, from what I can tell, 8 as low as, hey, politicians, listen up, lower medical costs, treat people like people, make public transit safer, end gun violence, create a trash pickup party, bring on the bikes. I will make a point about gun violence. I was at a party last night talking with a friend who has a 7th grader. She was telling me about how he actually is assuming there's going to be a school shooting, and he's hoping that he's in science class when it happens, because the science class has bigger closets, easier to hide in. That is just incredible. That is what kids are thinking about. End gun violence from a 13-year-old. Create a trash pickup party from an 8-year-old. That's what our guest Rashmi Roshanlal was doing in London this morning, a trash pickup party. See what else? We still have just a couple of pages to go. Kids ask, senators answer. This is an interesting section. I mean, this would be great for adults, right? How would you define the perfect country? And there's a response from Senator Peter Welch from Vermont. A question here: how do politicians come up with the bills and the language that they propose? Because they do not always seem to match with what regular citizens care about. And you have Senator LaFonza Butler of California offering an answer there. I want to be a teacher, and I worry a lot about what I will earn. Why do we pay such a valuable profession so little? From a 16-year-old, Senator Patty Murray from Washington offering her thoughts. And I am sad about poor people. How are you helping end poverty? Senator Mike Rounds from South Dakota offering his answer, as well as Senator Tammy Duckworth from Illinois. These are, I think, worth reading. They should consider doing something like this in the main paper. Campaign tips from 4 class presidents, how to win an election. Something that a lot of kids will be interested in, including my daughter. Can Taylor Swift swing an election? How celebrity endorsements work. That's a really good explainer to check out. And then they used to be kids. Now they're in office. Politicians may seem like the most grown-ups there are. But once upon a time, they were kids just like you. And for many of them, the experiences they had back then inspire them to run for office and guide what they do once they're there. Interviews by Elise Craig with Andrea Romero, a New Mexico State representative, and Fixing What's Broken with Hillary Sheev, mayor of Reno, Nevada, Janet Nguyen, California State Senator, and Ian Kane, City Council President from Quincy, Massachusetts. We have which office should you run for? A little kind of play here in terms of starting from here, what you want to do. And then it ends up with either the leader, a team player, the judge, a number cruncher, or a rule enforcer. So it gives different options. And a last quote: how old should you be to vote? From a 13-year-old. Kids are smart enough to know what's going on in the world and what they want by age 16. There's no reason to wait until 18. It's important to get young people's opinions because it's our future. What happens in elections affects us. What an incredible special section. The New York Times for Kids is a print-only section that is in the last Sunday of the month. This one, of course, is timed with the elections. Some great content here. I certainly encourage you to find it on our website. And as Sree mentioned earlier, usually we can only keep it on our website till noon on Sunday, but the New York Times has allowed us to keep it online until Election Day. So we can keep promoting it and people have a longer chance to get a copy of it. So get a copy, download it, share it with your friends. You won't be disappointed. This is an exclusive for the New York Times Read Along. We are so thankful for the New York Times for letting us do this. Again, my name is Neil Parekh. I am the executive producer and occasional guest host of the Sunday New York Times Read Along. We've been looking at the New York Times for Kids special section. And just wanted to remind you again, the centerpiece is that election night bingo, which you should definitely check out. We, of course, will be live next week for several special events. We have our show next Sunday with Jason Johnson, who we put on screen earlier. He's a political contributor to MSNBC and an associate professor of politics and journalism at Morgan State University and the politics editor at The Root. We're definitely looking forward to having him join us. And as Sree mentioned, we're going to be doing several special election specials Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday before the election, or including Election Day at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Join us. We'll have additional shows. We'll be putting it on our website. We'll send it by email, and we hope you can join us. Again, thank you so much for spending your Sunday morning with us. We appreciate you giving the time, and we definitely look forward to seeing you again. I just want to put in Dr. Tachi's comment. Excellent show as usual. Thank you, Rashmi, Sree, Neil, and team. Kaveri saying thank you, Rashmi, Sree, and Neil. Absolutely. And Sree showed this earlier. Such a wonderful conversation. Learned a lot. Now I'm ready for the week ahead. So thank you, Lotte. Appreciate everyone who stayed for the New York Times for Kids special deep dive. We will see you next week at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Thank you, and make sure to go vote. Vote like our democracy depends on it, because it does.